Hey, what's up guys, I'm Torvaldaruz, and for today's video I've got a T0 Dark Day 1 Alpha Friendly Rocket Kestrel for y'all to check out. This is geared towards new players, alpha players, or anyone who's wanting to get into the Abyss for the first time without any kind of hefty investment. If you're new to the Abyss or you're an expert and you want to help other people, jump into the in-game channel Abyssal Lurkers, where you can find a lot of useful information in the message of the day and a lot of good people to chat with. Also, the Discord, which is linked in the MOTD of the in-game channel. Here's the fit right here. It's nice and cheap, and it'll pay itself off pretty quickly. And there's also an upgraded version of this I'll show at the end of the video. It is a Caldari Navy hookbill. So after you've been running this thing for a while, leveling up those skills, you can actually upgrade this into a similar fit, just with a little bit better capabilities. This fit's linked below in the description of the video so you can easily import it into the game. Here are all the skills you need to run this fit. If you have not used a buddy link to start your account, you get 1,000,000 skill points for doing that. I'll have mine in the description of the video below. If you have a friend who already plays and you haven't used a buddy code, consider making a new account because that 1,000,000 skill points goes a long way. I highly recommend getting all these skills to these levels. You got to remember, this content, frigates, is intended for 3 people and you're doing it solo. So while it's not that hard, these skills can make a huge difference in damage, application, and all that. So be sure you do that before you start this. Don't forget about all those rocket support skills. Each one of them help in a different way, whether it's how far your rockets can go, how much damage they do, how good they apply. So watch out for those and make sure you train those up. Alright, now that you've got all the skills trained up, you've got the fit, you've got rockets, you're good to go, you've got 3 filaments. To actually do this content, you need to form a fleet with yourself. So go in a chat channel, right click your name and form fleet with. Once you do that, you can activate the filament. Make sure you have 3 of them. When you activate the filament, there will be a gate in space that you need to right click and activate, and that'll actually send you into the Abyss. Unlike cruisers where you can just right click, activate, and you'll automatically go in, with frigates, you actually have to right click the gate once you pop the filament. And welcome to the Abyss. This is Abyssal Dead Space. Once you are in here, you have 20 minutes to complete 3 different rooms. The gate in the room will not activate until you kill all of the NPCs inside. In each Abyssal Dead Space pocket, you'll come up against a wide variety of NPCs that do different things and have different strengths and weaknesses, as well as environmental effects such as clouds that speed your ship up, increase your signature radius, or towers that damage drones and missiles, or even towers that increase tracking. All of these different varieties and outcomes just means you have to make a decision every time you come into an encounter on what you're going to do and how you're going to go about it. The first encounter I'm going to show you here is the Triglavian frigate, the Damavix. These guys, they like to repair each other if there's more than one, and their weapon system does increase damage the more time it spends on you. You are running a dark filament, which means everything inside goes faster and turrets do not shoot as far. So that's good for you here because that means the Damavix will have a harder time reaching you with his turrets, but your missiles are unaffected. Now, something to remember is you are firing rockets, and those rockets have a maximum range they will travel, and the target you're shooting at is also moving. So when you're firing your rockets, even if that target is within your maximum range, they're moving away, so your rockets are going farther to chase them. So if you're not applying damage but your rockets are still shooting, that means that your rockets are not able to reach them because they're outrunning them and going past the distance that your range allows. So just keep that in mind. If you see your rockets firing and there's no damage being applied, you need to get closer to that target. It might require a little bit of manual piloting, double clicking in space, trying to intercept the path of that striking Damavix. Also, for Triglavians, you want to make sure you're firing explosives. So load Nova missiles to do the most amount of damage because they are armor tanked and their lowest resistance is explosive. Once all NPCs are dead, do not forget to go explode the bioadaptive cache and get the loot within. That is the money maker. That's what has all the good loot. There are extra nodes throughout the area. Those you don't really have to go for. If you get a chance to go for them, that's great. But the main focus is that bioadaptive cache. Get the loot out of there and move on to the next room. Alright, this next encounter, while it may not look like much, is actually a huge pain. These little Teslas, they come in 4 different flavors. Their name kind of indicates what damage they do. So for example, these are spark needles. They do EM damage. There's not too much you have to do here. You just have to get as close to them as possible. Get rockets on them. You can fire whatever damage you have loaded and just get them unloaded into them. Watch out for these little guys. I did actually run into a scenario where they were doing way more damage than I can handle. So if that happens, fly away, get out of there, get out of their range, get your shields back up, and then come back in for the kill. You're running to these little guys quite a bit, but yeah, just get up close, pew pew them with rockets, and move on. Watch out for speed clouds. It will make it to where your rockets won't hit these guys, so they're going fast enough to where they're outrunning the speed at which your rockets can go, and your rockets will reach their maximum distance before they actually hit the target. So if you're not doing damage, that's why, like I mentioned earlier. But yeah, speed clouds, and then the turret, the deviant suppressors, those things actually destroy missiles and rockets. So if you're firing your rockets and there's one of those around and your rockets aren't applying damage, it's most likely because those little fireballs flying from that thing are destroying your rockets. So be aware of those two different instances. Alright, here's the last encounter I'm going to show you for this video. I did about 15 runs, and across those 15 runs, this was the only cruiser I ran into, and then I ran into the Damavix and the Spark Needles. T0s are very watered down compared to the higher tiers. Even tier 1, you'll see a little bit more going on there. This guy, nothing crazy. You just you can fire whatever damage you want into him. He shouldn't apply too much damage to you, so you don't need to worry about your tank breaking, but just keep an orbit on him, keep in range, make sure your rockets are hitting him, and take him down that way. Again, watch out for those environmental effects such as deviant automated suppressors and speed clouds. Both of those will screw your damage up. But other than that, very smooth experience here. Alright, now for the good stuff, what we're all really looking for with the Abyss, the loot and income. So I completed 8 runs, and each run took me approximately 8 or 9 minutes each. It went by really quickly. And here's all the loot I accumulated from those 8 runs. Now you can see the estimated value is 17 million ISK. The only thing that has a fixed price are the surveys, the little red loot there. You actually sell those to NPC buy orders at specific stations for 100,000 ISK per unit. So when you're looking at income from the Abyss, the only thing you know 100% certainty on are those Triglavian survey databases, which sell for 100,000 ISK. Other than that, everything else sells for market value, whatever that may be. So the estimated value could be off. It all depends on it. If you're a market whiz, you want to watch the market and sell things when they're a little bit higher, or if you just kind of want to get rid of them whenever, you can list them on the market for whatever whatever price you see fit. All in all, I'd say it was a good haul. In 8 runs, took me probably about an hour to do those 8 runs. I was kind of running them back to back, and I was just going through the motions. I'd say 17 million ISK estimated value is pretty good. You've paid for the ship, plus you've made some income. This is all about learning about how the Abyss works, getting your feet wet with it, and working your way up to where you can upgrade and move up to higher tiers and better ships. And here's that upgrade that I mentioned earlier. As you're running these abyssal sites, making ISK, getting your skill levels up, you can eventually sit in this Caldari Navy hookbill, which is the faction frigate for the Caldari. You'll notice really everything's just a little bit better with this over the Kestrel, most notably the rockets. Now I have Caldari Navy Nova rockets here. That 12-kilometer flight range is huge and will help you out a ton. More DPS, better tank, better capacitor, everything. So really this thing is just a huge step up from the Kestrel and can just make your runs that much smoother. So here's a goal to work for. I know the CPU is a little bit over. All you have to do is train the CPU management skill up to level 5. That takes some time, but with that and a little cheap implant for CPU, you can be sitting in this thing with no problem. Alright guys, that is it for the T0 Dark Day 1 Alpha Friendly Rocket Kestrel. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments of the video below and I will get to those. And don't forget about the in-game channel Abyssal Lurkers as well as the Discord. Those are great resources for anyone to use. There's usually always people around to answer any questions you have. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this helps you out. Get in there, get in the Abyss, have some fun, make some money, and I'll see you next time.